Not Nerd Podcast, episode 362, TLAs all the way down.
Welcome to the Not Nerd Podcast. I am Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
As always, as you had mentioned, and I believe this is 362 shows in a row.
Yes.
We have done.
Not a week missed. Yes, I was thinking for episode 365 we should get I was thinking, that's like 365 days in a year, and I was like, we should do a 360 camera, and then I was like, no, that's what we would have done for episode 360, which had already passed. So
yeah,
that's how we do it sometimes. And just to let you know, we will be discussing the whole FTX whatever's going on a little bit later, but we have got to get through some other stuff first, including some follow-up. And I have to say thank you to Mr. Chris Kent, because I finally got a chance. We had some nice dry days, and I got my Cerakote ceramic headlight restoration kit out. And in less than 30 minutes, I sent you a before and after picture.
Yeah.
It is, Chris proved my mechanic wrong, who said I just need to replace the whole thing. It is like, they're like brand new headlights. And
your before and after is like an ad.
Yes. And they even say they do a really good job. The instructions are really simple, nice packaging. And they even say in there, make sure you take a before and after picture. Now, I was going to try to do a video and speed it up, but then I started my podcast and didn't realize that my phone, the tripod, was then paused the video. I did get some time lapse, but I will get the before and after photo posted up on the social medias, because it was very impressive. So if you have hazy headlights, look up the Cerakote. I'll put a link in the show notes once again for us, so that you can go ahead and go buy that, because it is very nice. So,
and is it a one time and done, or is there material left for future headlights?
According to the instructions, I would have just about been out of stuff. It is a one vehicle kit, but with what I did, being the frugal fella that I am, I think there's enough left to do my wife's car. Nice. So,
and I just wanted to say real quick, I know we're trying to get through these shows, but the before and after, one of my favorite memes is, it's like, this is Bob before and after, and it's a guy without a shirt and he's got a big fat belly. It says, in only 3 days he lost his glasses. And the pictures are identical
besides the glasses,
except for the glasses.
That's a good one.
I thought it was good.
Yes. Twitter has continued to be the talk of, I guess, the tech world and people on Twitter. I am now officially verified on Twitter, and I went to go try to verify the Not Nerd account, and now they have paused it for a while, and I was going to find an article. I'll try to put one in the show notes. The problem they had is people were setting up new accounts, and it was very close to popular brands, and then getting the verified check and then tweeting things out. And some people were falling, like the big one was Eli Lilly, the pharmaceutical company, and there was a fake account put up, and they tweeted insulin is now free, and then that supposedly caused the stock to drop like 5% or something in a day, which I'm just like, people, you're on Twitter, dude. It just goes to prove people are way too gullible.
They're way gullible.
But there was like a Nintendo one that was kind of vulgar, a bunch of vulgar stuff like that, and one even making fun of Tesla. Now, they were very quick. Like, by the time I saw somebody with a photo of the tweet, the accounts were already taken down.
Yeah.
But they're pausing the verification, and I can't even keep up. They fired a bunch of their contract workers. Oh, there was one story. Elon Musk announced that they were going to quit their free meals at the headquarters in the Bay in San Francisco, I guess it is. And people are like freaking out. Well, he was talking through some of the math, and it was basically costing Twitter $400 per meal that they actually gave out, because nobody was coming to the building, and they were prepping all this stuff and everything. So it's like, no wonder Twitter was in such a bad spot, because they were.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So it just continues with Twitter, and it's still, so many people are like, oh, Elon's the worst and blah, blah, blah. And other people are like, well, if it burns down to the ground, maybe that's better for society. And
regarding your $8 purchase of a blue check mark, I use Tweetbot, and none of the verification things show up on that. I was like, where is it? Oh, wait, none of them have it. So
interesting.
I think it's just the official app.
Yes, which I recommend. But if you are not able to get your blue check on Twitter, or if you would like 2 blue checks, Tumblr will now let you get 2 blue check marks for $8 a month.
Just a 1-up.
Yes. So you can get 2 of them on Tumblr. So I thought that was pretty good. A little comeback from them as they try to stay relevant.
Truth.
Yes, and I had mentioned that Twitter had laid off all the staff, and Facebook was probably going to, and they're laying off 11,000 employees. Facebook or Meta is, and they're not doing financially very well. Amazon is set to lay off about 10,000 employees this week, which,
holy cow,
I was thinking that's really crazy because we're going into the holiday season where they usually hire 40,000. So I don't know if there's if this is like permanent employees and then they're still going to have the temp ones for the holidays.
Where are all these people going to work?
I don't know. Well, and they'll probably be firing more people because Amazon unveiled a smaller delivery drone that can fly in the rain, which I hadn't thought about before. Minor detail, especially in the Pacific Northwest, being able to fly in rain.
Yeah, it's not something you should really do with a drone, but I did have my drone out to the coast a few weeks ago, and there was like fog and mist, and it was condensing all over the drone and on the lens and stuff. Everything was fine, but I can imagine if I had continued that some things could have shorted out. And that would have not have been ideal over the ocean.
Yeah, especially, over the ocean, or when you're delivering people's fine china with a drone.
I hope that they're not doing stuff like that.
Yes, and related to Amazon laying off some people, Amazon, this is just fascinating. Amazon becomes world's first company to lose $1 trillion in market value.
How is that even possible?
So, and they became part of the 2 trillion club, I think, along with Apple and Microsoft, was it?
You keep linking to these Bloomberg articles that I can't read.
Bloomberg.
Anyway.
A lot of times, a little behind the scenes, a lot of times I will have links that I want to put in the show notes, and I'll go to them and they're behind a paywall. So I will go find a different story because I'm not a fan of the paywalls. But yes, the Amazon market cap shrinks to $879 billion with a B dollars from 1.88 trillion with a T.
That is just crazy money.
Yeah, and Microsoft is close behind with $889 billion with a B in value loss. So they're still holding on to that, haven't lost $1 trillion in value yet.
That is just insane.
It is. And I saw something on Twitter today. Somebody, Didi, who has a blue check mark, so it must be right.
He must pay $8.
So Didi had a tweet with tech layoffs. Meta is 11,000 with 13% of staff. Twitter, 3,700, 50% staff. Intel laying off 20% of staff. Snap, 20%. Netflix laid off 450. Robinhood, 30%. Stripe and Lyft, 13%. Salesforce, 2,000. Amazon, 10,000. So 120,000 plus layoffs. And he says that in the 2001 .com layoffs, were about 107,000. So Q4 layoffs have just begun. A brutally cold tech winter is coming, according to Didi.
Thanks, Didi.
Yes. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, Apple's $191 billion with a B dollar single day surge sets stock market record.
Who's laughing now?
Yes. So, and I think I saw that Apple is now, their market value is Meta, Google, and Facebook combined.
Yes.
Which is insane.
Which is a lot.
Yes.
But it helped that all of those dropped so much in value. It was easy to eclipse them.
Yes. And I do just want a quick programming note. Many of you tune in just to the mid-month episode to get your Patch Tuesday update. But since we had so much on the layoffs and everything, come back next week to get your Patch Tuesday fix. So a little teaser there for episode 363.
I can't wait. I'll put it in my calendar.
Yes, and you know what else you should put in your calendar? Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
Nate, how often is it that I sit down with you and I look at, we're generally holding hands across a table, and I look you in the eye and I say, Nate, does the tech in your life spark joy?
Often.
I mean, it's at least once a day.
Yes.
Unsurprising to everybody because this show is so well known, Maria Kondo has kind of taken that catchphrase from me.
Yes.
Spark joy.
Yes.
And she and Google have teamed up. And if you go to one.google.com/Marie Kondo, MarieKondo, there's a short little video and basically a commercial to buy Google One. So this week is sponsored by Google One.
Yes.
Your favorite One service.
And by sponsored, you mean I pay them money every month.
Yes, it's reverse sponsorship. I pay them and I tell you about them. But it kept coming through my email, so I decided to check it out. And there are some really great tips that apply not only to Google services, but if you're in the Apple ecosystem, or Android is kind of Google, but you don't have to use Gmail and Drive with Android. You use your own stuff. Whatever platform, whatever device you use, these digital tips are relevant. She says, tip number 1, keep a cleaner inbox. I need a little more instruction here, but she says, make it a goal to, probably somebody on Google's marketing team says, make it a goal to address emails daily so nothing stays in your inbox. For a fresh start, just archive all your current mails. Don't worry, you can always find them by searching or going into all mail.
My heart is fluttering here thinking about this.
Your stress just went up. But there is a concept called inbox bankruptcy, where you just are like, you know what? I'm never going to catch up. I'm going to archive all these. I'm not going to delete them. Just going to archive them all and address the new ones as they come in. And if you wait long enough, pro tip, most people will find and take care of their own problems. Tip number 2, you only really need a few folders. Now, I have been interfaced with organizations and helping people to migrate files and folders and emails to one service to another. And people, you don't need 12 billion folders. It's like a folder, people I work with, Nate Heath, Elliot Sprague, Jared Butler, whatever. You don't need that. Just search for their name, or make a smart mailbox that will find any email from a particular person. And then you don't have to drag them in there and do all this crazy stuff. My wife, bless her little heart, she's got folders upon folders and folders. Now, some jobs really require that level of organization, but for most people, 2 or 3 folders. I have folders for receipts that I want to get to, and then I have an archive, and I just search it in the archive. And of course, I have my inbox. But anyway, tip number 3, search beyond keywords. Use the intuitive search feature in Gmail and Google Drive. Of course, this is very specific to Google services, to find what you're looking for. You can narrow results by date, what's in the email, the file, who sent it, etc. This is a major tip. If you did archive a file and you're trying to find it again, don't spend days combing through your archives. Just type in, there are a couple little keywords you can do, but like from, colon, and the person's name. And then you can do like space, date, colon, put the date. It's really smart. If you mess up, it usually recommends, hey, I think you meant this or whatever. But you can really get some very specific search terms to find exactly what you're looking for. Now, I will agree, sticking the email in the folder avoids all that. But then you're wasting your time looking through folders upon folders to find the right scenario. And I will also say this. The beautiful thing about using a tag or a label in Google's parlance versus just dragging stuff in folders, if you tag your items, they can exist in more than one folder. So you could, for example, tag something not nerd, if it's something to do with not nerd. And I can also tag it pick of the week, and then I can also tag it, I don't know, technology.
Yes.
And so if I'm searching for a tip of the week, boom, I hit that label, it shows up. If I'm looking for everything not nerd, I click not nerd, boom, it shows up. If I'm looking things related to technology, I tap that, it shows up. So there's just unlimited tips. But if you visit this page, it gets a little bit deeper. There's a very short video. I will save you the trouble. Spoiler alert. Marie just says, hey, everybody, there's 3 things going on in your life: email, photos, and files. Look below to read more about those. So
nice.
That's basically the whole video. But it's a nicely designed page.
Yeah.
It's animated. It's got lots of white space. It's easy to read. So check it out, because if you're not using Google One services, again, this will apply if you're in the Apple ecosystem or Microsoft's 365 Officing tools, whatever ecosystem you're in, these tips will apply.
Yes. No, I don't agree with Marie on much because I like stuff because it might bring me joy at some point.
Right.
So she would have a very tough time, especially in my garage. But as far as this stuff goes, now I am fully admit I'm a digital hoarder, but these tips almost avoid that because I'm the same thing with email. If I'm done with it, I just hit archive, and I've become good at search. And I have worked with people. It seems like especially people that use Microsoft Outlook that are, and they have a folder for every single contact they have, and they probably spend half their workday just moving emails into the right folder where you could just use search and find everything from that person in a heartbeat. And so I really do think these are some great tips for just simplifying. You're not necessarily clearing clutter besides in your inbox, which is important.
It is.
Because my inbox, when it gets out of control, it's just like, stuff kind of gets all blended together in there. But yeah, I strongly agree. I give this one my approval.
Oh, thank you so much, Nate. I'm always seeking your approval on everything.
Yes, indeed. Well, on to our take. So you've probably been, if you're paying attention at all this week, which I admire those of you who don't, but you might have seen the alphabet soup of SBF, FTX, FTT, maybe even the SEC.
Wow.
Yeah, so there is a gentleman, a young man named Sam Bankman-Fried.
The TLA on that is SBF.
SBF.
And TLA is 3-letter acronym.
Oh.
It has its own 3-letter acronym. It's recursive.
It just makes sense.
It's TLAs all the way down.
Yeah, so I will refer to him as SBF, besides the fact that this has to do with finances, and his last name is Bankman-Fried.
Yeah, that's a little...
Yeah, a little suspicious. I've been hearing a lot of people talking about this, and the main thing is FTX, which is his crypto trading firm that he started. Now, you might have heard of FTX because there was a Super Bowl commercial that I think that we talked about on this podcast with Larry David, where he's going through time, and it was like, the wheel's been invented. He's like, oh no, that'll never catch on. So they spent a ton of money on Super Bowl. Tom Brady and Giselle were doing stuff for them. I mean, they were doing so much support for this FTX, and it was much like Robinhood or Stash, where you can you're buying into crypto. You don't actually digitally personally hold the crypto, but you're buying into it at the price so that hopefully it goes up.
It's an exchange. You exchange real money that has value for stuff that doesn't.
Yes, yes, indeed. So he had that, and then he had another company, Alameda Research, and I might get some of this stuff mixed up, but I'll try to get the overarching.
I've heard of Alameda Cleaners. Yes. I don't know if it's the same.
It is not. So he started this crypto exchange platform, FTX, and then he had this Alameda, which was kind of this research firm in the crypto world, and started making a lot of money. And one of his things, there's all these online profiles of him. He's doing all this good. Now, in this, I will quickly remind people, we are the most nonpartisan tech podcast on the internet. But in just this United States election that we had this last week, he was the second largest donor. And I've seen between $40 and $50 million he donated to Democratic campaigns with his funds. And his goal was, I think, to give $1 billion in 2024 to elections, but he was the perfect guy because he wasn't a crypto bro. He was giving it all back.
Yeah.
And at his peak, he was worth $26 billion. And I guess he was the youngest billionaire. I forget. He is like 24 or something like that.
Well, there's your problem right there.
Yes.
His brain 24. Isn't even fully formed at 24.
Yes. So everybody was behind this thing. They're pouring tons of money. And it's really, the Super Bowl commercial, that's to get everybody into crypto. Now, of course, crypto is not doing well, as we have talked about many times. But stuff started coming out about FTX that maybe they weren't as financially solvent as they said they were. And I forget, here's the other acronym, FTT, which is the FTX coin that they created, which everything is kind of transact. So when you put money in, it becomes FTT coin, but then it can be converted. You can invest in Bitcoin or whatever it is.
It's like going to the arcade and they give you those stupid little tokens that have no value in and of themselves. You have to exchange them for a game or back into cash if they even would allow you to do that.
Basically, this past week, FTX was worth, I think it was somewhere around $20 billion. And by the end of the week, it was basically worth nothing.
It's a good time to buy it.
Yeah. People started looking into it and realized that even though they had $90 billion in customer funds, that they only had about $9 billion of actual assets.
Yikes.
And so people have been digging into this, and there's some really, really interesting stuff. Now, he's probably going to go to jail for a long time. I heard that he had a accounting backdoor in FTX where he could siphon money out, and it was untraceable.
Well, is that where the 80 billion went? Like, where did that go?
Yeah. That's a good question. Well, and so some of it was going into Alameda Research, which was run by his girlfriend. They live in this house with 10 people in the Bahamas.
That's a sketch.
Yeah, and then most people might be aware that the United States has given $50 billion plus to the Ukraine for the war efforts. Mm-hmm. Well, Ukraine invested billions into FTX.
Oh, wow.
Which then comes back to SBF. I mean, there is just all kinds of stuff here, and it really looks like now here, there's so many pieces. One other piece is SBF, because he was such the ideal crypto guy. He had been meeting with the government a lot to discuss crypto regulation, and now that he's been found out to be a fraud, they're like trying to push all this crypto regulation, and it's like, well, this is your buddy here that stole the $80 billion out, or $80 billion is and gone, but some of it is the fact that crypto's just gone down in value so much as well. Yeah. But it is it's a very interesting story, so I probably confuse you much more than when we started, but
I just want my Ethereum value to go back up so I can sell it.
Yes. Well, maybe this is when it'll actually happen now that SBF's out of it with his shady dealings. But really interesting story. I'm sure the movie rights have already been sold. So we'll be able to see Jonah Hill play this guy.
Oh, no. I was going to say Matt Damon.
Oh, yes. But Matt Damon, who also pumped, it wasn't FTX, but
it was Crypto.com.
Yes, that was the other big Super Bowl commercial. But yeah, so I hope that you weren't invested in FTX because, and there was a big run on it where people were pulling all their money out of it. And so that's when it really blew up because they just
didn't
had
have it.
They didn't have money, so they were trying to borrow money to give people their money back.
And that's why banks are FDIC insured.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, just a really crazy story. And I heard I think it was, I'm going to say Ontario, Canada, like their teachers' pension fund had invested,
no.
I mean, I think it was $60 million in FTX. And it's like, so there's a lot invested in this. $80 billion is a lot of dollars.
It can affect a lot of individual people and groups.
Yes, indeed.
It goes a long way.
It does. Well, this next one, a little change of pace. A UN initiative will use satellites to detect methane emission hotspots. And I was reading in the article that they were going to be mostly focused on Taco Bells.
Are you? You gotta be joking.
I am joking.
Okay.
But yeah, the United Nations is betting that satellites could help the world catch up on emissions reductions. The organization has unveiled a methane alert and response system, MARS, that, as the name implies, will warn countries and companies of major methane emission releases.
Okay, here's the problem. Mars is a planet. It's also a god, Roman god of war, I believe. But don't be calling stuff that isn't a planet Mars, because then it gets confusing. Because, hey, NASA found methane emissions on Mars. Well, are we talking about this thing, or are we talking about actual methane on Mars?
Yes.
Which is a global warming gas, which could mean is Mars warming up? Anyway, come on, get a better, different acronym.
Yes. So the system will get its early funding from the U.S. government. So you're in my pockets. European Commission, Bezos Earth Fund, and the Global Methane Hub.
Oh, I was just down there the other day to pick up me some methane.
Yes, the Global Methane Hub. But yeah, I just thought that was an interesting one. So they're going to use satellites to see who's letting out too much methane.
Well, your joke about Taco Bell was pretty funny, but I'm wondering what the scan of your house would look like.
Yes, it would.
PDX Fast Foodie and all these
glowing. We will say my home is glowing. This is not a good episode for people that have invested in stocks or crypto, but this article is titled, "The firm that bought my car for more than I paid new has lost 98% of its value." And they're talking about Carvana.
Yeah, and the headline is funny because anyone who reads it says, okay, they bought the car for more than I paid for it. There's no surprise that they've lost their value. I mean, and this hits close to home because I'm interested in selling my car, which on paper seems to have the same value of what I owe on it.
Yeah.
It's not like when I bought it.
Yeah.
If you've ever financed a vehicle, you will know that the value of what the vehicle's worth and what you owe on it is never the same.
Yes.
It's always upside down.
Until the last 2 years when the used car market went. I had a friend, he had a truck, thought he was going to do a bunch of camping and ended up selling it for more and getting a different vehicle. But some of it was due to Carvana buying cars for too much. And
this sounds just like the FTX thing. It's like, well, I want to do that, but now as the bubble burst, has the false value been found out? And all the air is going to go out of this market, and my car is worth what it should be worth, which is probably $5,000 less than what I owe on it. You know?
Yeah. So in August of 2021, so kind of the height of the used car boom, it was around 300. Well, their all-time high was 360. It looks like last August it was up around $304. It's now trading around $7 a share.
Wow. Now's the time to get in.
Yeah. So, man, they use algorithms to find out how much they should buy cars for, and then they resell them. And so throughout 2021, as Carvana saw its first and only quarterly profit, the company kept telling investors how it planned to scale up production to meet the pandemic's unprecedented demand, which did not work out real well for them.
This is just like when Silicon Valley and all of the new startups and the dot-com era, let's just throw a bunch of money at this stuff and let's ignore the
actually making money.
Yeah, what do they call them? The fundamentals. Let's ignore the fundamentals and let's just ride on this cash that we have, and it'll all come out in the wash, as Grandma used to say. Well, the wash comes back to catch you at some point. Is that the phrase?
That is the phrase. The wash will come back to catch you.
Yeah.
And it's like Uber that, keeps losing money, but, just keeps plugging along, and all these false bubbles that tend to bubble up and then eventually they need to pop.
Mm-hmm.
And something that nobody should care about, but I put it in anyways.
This was out of left field.
New Zoom mail and calendar give workers a toggle tax break. So Zoom is trying to expand because a lot less people are on Zoom these days than they were, again, during the pandemic.
Talk about the bubble.
Yes. And so they're trying to incorporate more services so that you could just completely live within Zoom.
But, okay, there's this thing that came out back, I was going to say in 95. You ever heard of Windows 95? But actually Windows 3.1, which was actually a copy of Macintosh.
Yes.
Windows. People, you can have more than one app running in a window on your screen. Why do we need a Zoom window that integrates email and calendars? Why do we need this?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's they're trying to compete, I guess, with Microsoft Teams or Google, their services, and become a third service provider. But again, I don't know. And you can get your zmail.com address with Zoom Mail.
Maybe we should do that, because the land grab is going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Get Nate at Zmail.
Oh, could I only? Yeah, so I don't know. But let's get rid of all that stuff we just talked about and cleanse our palate with our bonus odd take. So Microsoft, which you were just talking about, is celebrating the 40th anniversary, 40 years of the venerable Flight Simulator series today with the launch of the aptly named Microsoft Flight Simulator 40th anniversary update. What a clever name.
Yeah, that's pretty succinct too.
Yeah, it's why they call it like the 40X1X 10X like they do with their gaming systems.
I don't know. Series 40.
But it is bringing helicopters, gliders, and the Spruce Goose to its flight simulator.
You and I have seen the Spruce Goose, my friend.
Yes, we have. It is just down the road in McMinnville, Oregon at the Evergreen Space and Aviation Museum.
I've been inside of it,
so
it'd be neat to fly it. So
yeah.
I'm going to say this. Microsoft Flight Simulator is no joke. It's legit. It is very well put together. They've had 40 years to get it right.
No, that's
and
true.
There's so much in it. I played it on Xbox Game Pass, and I flew over listener Elliot's house, and one-time guest Elliot. And I took I said, what's your address or whatever, and it flew over there, and I mean, I crashed right across the street from his house.
Nice.
It was awesome.
Nice. Yes, the 40th anniversary edition is available now on PC, Xbox Series X, S, and via Xbox Cloud Gaming for Xbox One and other supported devices.
Very fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, if you want to try it out, just get Xbox Game Pass. You don't even have to have a Xbox. You can just do it on your iPad or your TV, some TVs. My TV, I can just play it on my TV for free. You just have to have a controller. So
very cool.
There you go.
There we go. And you know where else we go? Our picks of the week.
I had a heck of a time finding the correct URL for this.
Yes.
But on Reddit, I enjoy going to the photo restore and photo colorization subreddits and all these subreddits where they'll take an old damaged photo and someone will edit it and then it looks brand new or it's colored and all this. And I've done some of that work myself, and so it's interesting to me. But being a technology person and quite lazy, I want it to just be done for me. Yeah. It's a lot easier than doing it yourself. So there have been various apps. I think Rimini or whatever, I recommended it a while back. It's an app you download, put your photo in there, and it will correct the faces. It can add color and upscale it and do all this stuff. Well, this new one I found is Palette.fm. PALETTE.fm. And for now, it's 100% free, and there doesn't appear to be any restrictions, although I do expect a subscription or a pay service to come in the future because, the guy's got to pay for server time. But it is amazing. Nate, I'll just show you a photo. I was over in photo restoration, and some guy said, hey, look what I did on Photoshop or whatever he was using to do it. And everybody's like, oh, that's really cool. Good job. I took the same photo and put it through this program, this algorithm, this whatever, and it is nearly identical. It's not as good as doing it by hand, but here is the
original. Yeah.
There's the original. It's just a bunch of people sitting around. Looks like they're sewing or doing something. And then I threw it through this app, and it found, there we go.
Wow.
It found their shirts, their faces, the table, the furniture, the floor, the walls, the wallpaper, the door, and it put appropriate colorings on everything.
That is amazing.
Now you'll notice the stuff that it looks like a big banner they're putting together or something.
Yeah.
The original person made those all the same color, and this algorithm decided to make sections of it different colors. But how do you know it wasn't different colored? I mean, it was black and white. You don't know anything.
Wow.
Anyway, it is the best I have used, and I've used all of them.
Nice.
Well, at least all the ones for iPhone. But this one is just a website. Upload the picture. It applies amazing algorithms. It even gives you a couple different stylistic choices if you don't like the default palette. And it's all for free.
Very cool. I will definitely try that out. I think I've got some old family photos in my collection. Yeah, there's a couple from my grandfather when he was a kid, which was a long time ago.
Yes.
But very cool. Nice find. Well, mine is less exciting.
I already looked at it too. Sorry.
No, that's fine, but a little more practical. And I might have picked one of these in the past, but I just purchased a couple of these for a client of mine. And this is the CyberPower ST425 standby UPS system, 425 volt amp, 260 watt, 8 outlets, compact.
Wow.
All in one breath. That was actually one of the shorter Amazon descriptions. But this is a company, CyberPower, and what this is a UPS surge protector battery backup device. Now, this is a very, is it volt amps, VA?
I don't know. I will say something and it will be wrong.
Yes. Well, we'll just say VA, which is the amount of power it has. But, this would give you a little bit of time if you've got a desktop computer or something. And the reason why I purchased this was for the client. They have an office and the power's gone out twice in the last week. And I think it actually fried an old computer that they had plugged in. And so I said, you know what? We're going to invest in these. And this model, it's one of the cheaper ones I found on Amazon, but CyberPower is a very good brand. $54 for this. And just to have that peace of mind as we, in the Northern Hemisphere, go into winter, when the power tends to go out, or in some places during the summer when there's brownouts and all that kind of stuff. If you've got important electronics, I should really get one for my desk here because I do have a couple of desktop kind of servery computers here. But for a laptop, you don't need it as much because, they've got the battery, so they're going to keep going most likely. But, I think it's a good little investment for a little peace of mind.
And for those of you curious at home, VA is a volt ampere. Is a measurement of power in direct current DC electrical circuits. So volt ampere.
Volt ampere. Should have known. They have all different capacities of these. I mean, you can get huge ones if you've got a server room or something. It's a very, very nice little device, and at $54, worth the investment.
Yeah, certainly is.
Well, with that, I think we will wrap up this fine episode. Hopefully we didn't depress you too much, and you can go buy Flight Simulator and have some fun flying the Spruce Goose to forget about what's going on with your investment portfolio at the moment.
So what you do is you sell all the crypto that you have remaining, take that $20 that you have out of the thousands,
yes,
and then just subscribe to 1 month Game Pass.
A much better investment. Yeah. Well, it's stuff like that we share with you, so that you can share it with a friend, so everyone could get out there and tech better.
Are you familiar with Taylor Swift?
I have heard of the woman.
Are you still DJing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No Taylor Swift requests in the last month or so.
And her song Antihero, which is good. I think you should check it out.
I will.
She says, everybody's such a sexy baby, and I'm just a monster on the hill. I'm curious what she meant by everybody's a sexy baby. What does that mean? I just wanted someone else's opinion of what it might mean. I guess I could just call up Taylor and ask her, but it seems so lame.